Hey platform, it's Rowan, and today I'm going to be talking all about some really exciting new releases that we have coming out in May and June, just in time for your summer reading. Our first book is being released on the 13th of May, and it is Things to Do Before the End of the World by Emily Barr. So this is a coming-of-age thriller. Essentially, it's set in a world where humanity has basically messed with the planet to the point where we've got about a year left of like usable air, which, you know, sounds like a pretty bleak kind of premise for a book, but it follows this one girl who essentially, even though it is like the end of the world and everyone is, you know, doing the things that they said they would always do, you know, completing their bucket lists, apologizing to that one person that they haven't spoken to in years, she does not know what she wants to do, right? Which I think is a pretty normal thing for a teenager to be dealing with in the real world, and this is like heightened to 100. So she is trying to figure this out, and she ends up being contacted by her long lost cousin who she didn't even know existed. And so over the course of this one last summer together, she kind of starts to come out of herself a bit more. She starts to really become someone that she wants to be through the influence of her cousin. Which all sounds like it's going to be a really sort of maybe quite tender but feel-good story of like, you know, teens discovering themselves, except for the fact that this is a thriller and there is maybe something about her cousin that is not all that it seems. So I won't say anything more than that, but if you know Emily Barr's stuff, you will know that this is going to be an amazing ride. The next book I'm going to talk about is out on the 27th of May, and it is Off the Record by Cameron Garrett. It's about this teenage journalist who kind of inadvertently stumbles upon the Me Too story of the decade and has to weigh the risks of reporting it against like the need for justice. Our protagonist Josie wins this contest, and the prize is that she gets to write a celebrity profile for a major magazine. And so she's kind of thrust into this whirlwind, you know, world of Hollywood and glamour and celebrity. And while she's there, it all seems to be going like amazingly well, but this young actress tells her a secret, and these secrets keep coming, and she essentially has to decide between like, how is she going to tell this story? Is she the right person to tell the story? Is she going to do this justice? And are there any risks in talking about something that has been kept a secret for so long? Cameron Garrett is the author of the book Full Disclosure, which you may already have read, which is amazing, by the way, highly recommend. So she actually wrote that book when she was a teenager, so she's a super like new, young, up and coming author, and we are so excited for what else she has in store for us, including this book, Off the Record. So this actually, there was a quote from the Angie Thomas about this book. Angie Thomas called it honest, eye-opening, and heartfelt. Could you get a better endorsement for your book? If you've read Full Disclosure already, you'll know that Cameron is amazing at essentially talking about like quite serious social issues, or the stuff that could be quite serious, but in a way that always involves, you know, characters that jump off the page, and a really thoughtful way of going about it that's never like preachy. It always feels like it's at the service of the characters. So I'm really looking forward to this one. So those are our two releases for May. We have a lot more coming out in June. We actually have 3 books coming out on the 3rd of June. That day is going to be so wild. So I guess I'll tell you about them and you can decide which one you're gonna try and read first. If anyone manages to read these all on one day, this would be a really amazing like 24-hour readathon idea, is trying to read all 3 of these books that come out on the 3rd of June. So the first one I'm gonna talk about is Instructions for Dancing by Nicola Yoon. So this book is about a girl called Evie Thomas whose parents' like marriage has fallen apart and she just doesn't believe in love anymore. And then this kind of like strange magical thing happens to her where she realizes that if she sees a couple kissing, she then in her mind can see the future of their relationship all the way up until they all inevitably seem to break up or it ends in some kind of tragedy. And so she is just like not on board for love. Like, she does not believe it exists. Like, everything is telling her that it's just not real. So her journey in this book takes her to this like ballroom dancing studio where she meets X, who, you know, is the total opposite to her. It's like very outgoing and romantic, and yeah, it's this kind of classic question of, is it worth the risk? Is potentially like love or a relationship worth the risk, even though it could end so badly and often does for people? Again, I'm not going to give you any spoilers for this book, but it's a book that's going to be packing like a hardcore emotional punch all the way through to the last page. Our second book that's coming out on the 3rd of June is The Crossing by Manjeet Mann. The story's about these two characters from very different worlds. One of them is a teenage girl who's just lost her mother and is kind of trying to use swimming as a way of escaping, especially because her brother is being drawn like further and further into a world of hatred. And our second protagonist is a boy who has had to leave his family and his home in Eritrea in order to try and find a different, a better life for himself in Europe. These are two characters who in a lot of worlds would like never have crossed paths, but a twist of fate brings them together, and it's all about what happens when it does. So we actually talked to this author for the platform YA Book Club a few months ago. If you do not know what I'm talking about when I mention the book club, where have you been? Come on, it's amazing. We essentially read a new YA book together every month. We discuss it on the Discord. The link I will put in the description. And then we have a live stream Q&A with the author at the end of each month on the last Tuesday of every month, where we get to ask the author all of the questions that we had while reading the book. It's very fun. And we read Run Rebel, which was Manjeet's first book, and it was amazing talking to her. So if you want to read this book and maybe like go and see what she has to say about her writing and her like craft and YA and like all of this kind of stuff, then that is available for you on our channel. I'll maybe link it somewhere, put it in a card. It will be around somewhere for you to click on. And our third and final book that's being released on the 3rd of June is called The Passing Playbook, and it's by Isaac Fitzsimmons. This is a very different book to the previous one. It is a feel-good LGBT romance about a trans guy who essentially has to choose between fighting for his rights and staying stealth. So Spencer is our protagonist, and his life is like going pretty great. He's at this new, really accepting school. He has these amazing new friends. He's on the soccer team. Like, everything seems to be going great, but also like no one knows he's trans. He's like passing as a cis guy. And so when a discriminatory new law comes in and his coach is forced to bench him because of him being trans, he essentially has to make the decision as to whether to just like accept it and cheer on his team from the sidelines and like not say anything to anyone else about why that's happened, or out himself to the world, including his crush, and kind of fight for what's right and fight for himself and his community. I haven't gotten a chance to read this book yet, but it's like one of the books I'm most excited for this year. I just think it's going to be so like lovely and sweet and heartfelt, and also like it's like a book by a trans author about a trans character, and you know, we don't have enough of those, and it's coming out during Pride Month, so everything is pointing towards that I'm going to love it. So on the 10th of June, we actually have the release of a paperback of a book that's already out in hardback, but if you missed the hardback release, then this is your chance to jump on it. It's The Magpie Society by Zoe Sugg and Amy McCulloch. Our story kicks off when the body of one of the students is found on the beach with this elaborate magpie tattoo on her back. And these two characters are forced into an alliance when a mysterious podcast starts that basically says, I know who killed this girl, and one of you is going to be next. It is a modern gothic thriller set at an elite boarding school. What's really interesting about this book is that each of the authors took charge of like a different character, and so the chapters like alternate between the points of view of these two girls. The sequel to this book is actually out in the autumn, so this is a really good chance to read that first book before the next one comes out. So if you're looking for a kind of fun, twisty, turny mystery to read in the sunshine in the summer, then this is a brilliant pick. So there's 2 books left on this list. The penultimate one is out on the 24th of June and it's called The Things We Don't See by Savannah Brown. I am fully obsessed with the premise of this book. It properly sounds amazing to me. So this is another thriller. We do love our thrillers over the next few months. I'm really excited to see how I just read lots of books in a row which are just gonna mess with my mind and make me like, give me red herrings and twists and turns and plot twists and just, I'm very excited for it. So this book is about a girl who is investigating the disappearance of another girl who was like a promising young singer in this town years ago. And she basically has this one summer to try and investigate this crime, and she does it by essentially like taking her like a voice recorder around with her and attempting to record it as a podcast, like a true crime podcast. But she kind of only has this summer to try and solve this crime. But as she gets like further into this mystery, she discovers not just things about this girl who's gone missing, but like maybe about her own past as well. It sounds very good. I'm very excited about it. And finally, our last book, which genuinely I think unquestionably has the best title of all of them. It is out on the 27th of June and it is The Boy Band Murder Mystery.
Even in my sleep, I'm calling out your name, but I never wanted things to be this way, this way.
So I'm just gonna read you, like, you know how sometimes on books on the back cover or on the blurb it's got like a quote from the book that kind of sums up something about it. I'm gonna read you this quote because I feel like it's a very good quote to sum up the vibe of this book. I've long believed that loving a boy band brings with it a wealth of transferable skills, but I'd never imagined solving a murder would be one of them. I mean, chef's kiss. So our protagonist Harry and her friends like absolutely adore this band Half-Light, but when the frontman is accused of murder, they like cannot believe that that would be happening, and they realize that they are like maybe better placed than some of these detectives to try and figure out what actually happened, because, you know, they know the most about these guys than anyone else in the world. So she and a network of other fangirls essentially set out to prove this guy's innocence. But like, obviously, we have to ask the question, is he innocent? Is she blinded by her faith in him and her like love of this band and this celebrity? What's going on? What will she discover? Like, I'm so excited about this book. I found out about it like a while ago when we first decided we were publishing it at Penguin, and I was like so excited for it, and I've just been waiting every single meeting. I'm like waiting for them to bring up like the boy band murder book, because I mean, who doesn't love that premise, you know? So those are all the books that are coming out from us over the next 2 months. I would love to hear in the comments which one of these books you are most excited for. And as always, subscribe to Platform for more bookish videos.
Baby, I miss you.